So we are now going to just follow the structure that we have mentioned last time. So we will not go into the details, but we will do the overall of each chapter, and I will give the main principles which we should consider. Okay, well, as you saw, the chapter of the punishments and all of them and most of the part of the muamalat, it was based on the athari, you can say, way. So that's why we are not different. I mean, the official Hanafi school is not different to the rest of the atharis. Okay, so Jafaris, Hanbalis, and all of these athari people. Okay, so that's why there could be few irrational issues which is just backed up by athar. But in terms of the actual rational issues, you find them sometimes it could be available, but most of the time, because it's based on the athar. So athar said such and such, so means that's what it is. And also it's athar is, for example, in the punishments, it will be on the Kufi athar. So that's why Jafaris and Hanafis are very close in terms of the punishments. Okay. Okay, so what can we say about the al-hudud? Al-hudud is coming from the root of al-had. What's the meaning of had? Who knows? Yes. Okay. Anything else? Literal meaning, linguistically, it means limit. Had. So any meaning of limit, that is limit. Okay. So regardless if it is physical or non-physical. So for all of that it is used had. Okay, so for example, if you know we have this big issue, okay, within the Ahl Sunnah about the attribute of had to God. Hanbalis attribute had to God. Does God have limit? They say yes. Okay, and Jumhur of Ahl Sunnah means Mu'tazila, Asharis and Maturidis, they say no limit. So Al-Hudud, Kitab Al-Hudud, so it is the chapter about the punishments. Okay, so it is borrowed from the, you can say, the limits in terms of the lawful things, crossing the limits. Okay, so Kitab Al-Hudud. So that's, and later it was just used for the punishments. Okay, for example, أقمت عليه الحد means I have performed the had on him. What does that mean? I have applied punishment. Okay, so means later the actual meaning of had in fiqh is not used. Linguistic is totally disregarded. Okay, so now had means punishment. Al-Hudud. Okay, Sayyidi. Kitab al-Hudud. It is mainly based in the single chain narrations. Okay, most of the chapters. For example, the punishment of adultery, punishment of stealing, punishment of slandering, okay, and punishment of drinking alcohol. Okay, so all of that are set up by the athar. Mainly single chain athar, except for one, which is, or for two I would say, it is the fornication and slander. Okay, these two are set up by Quranic text. Okay, but everything else is just single chain narration. So that's why we do not differ from the Shafi'is and Atharis and Jafaris. Okay, Sayyidi. Okay, so in terms of Quran obviously does not distinguish between the adultery and fornication, okay, but both is called zina. But this distinction between this and that, it came from the single chain marriage. Okay, and obviously just to back up their claim, just to make it up to the level of Quran, they also claim that it used to be in Quran. Okay, so the distinction between fornication and adultery used to be in Quran, but later it was abrogated in terms of recitation. Okay, and they claim that it is actually narrated from Umar radiallahu anhu. Okay, but I'm quite skeptical about it. Umar radiallahu anhu is quite a tough person, and it's quite strange why he would claim it. Okay. Yes, or just opinions, even it is just opinion. Yeah. Well, as I said, because the Athari path, it is when single chain narrations override the Quranic mutawatir, you can say, verses. So that is the main principle. Okay. And there is another thing in terms of the punishments. We do not accept the testimony of the women, but it should be only the testimony of males. Okay. So the testimony of the women, it is accepted in the muamalat. So in anything where there is no punishment, as soon as there is punishment, we need the male witnesses. Obviously, it is again irrational. Why? Because they accept, in terms of setting up the punishment, they accept the narration of the women. Why you do not accept the testimony of the women? What's the difference between narration and testimony? Which one is more dangerous? Which one is more global? Which one is... Sorry? Exactly. So narration is more important, isn't it? So it's the same as to say a knife can kill human, but nuclear bomb cannot. Do you understand? So if you are setting up the entire establishment called punishment by single chain narration of the women, female, okay. So for example, if the chain would be women from Rasul, they would accept. Understand? Entire chain of women. But then when it is 3 males and 2 females, they say no, we do not. Just irrational. But again, Atharis no need rationality. All they need is chain and narration. So they have got it, so they just take it. So that is about this one. and also, in terms of setting up the punishment of the adultery, so for witnesses, based on the you can say the behavior of our fuqaha, you can understand that for some reason they were trying to avoid it. Okay, because first of all, avoiding the punishment. So I think there were few very noble fuqaha. Most likely they understood the game, so they made it complicated or nearly impossible. Okay, because first of all, they say for the application we need 4 males. Okay, and also their testimony should accord one another. Okay, so for example, when judge comes, when 4 people come to the judge, so he asks generally, are you all witness? They say yes, and then he takes them one by one to describe. Any mismatch, void. Understand? If there is mismatch, judge issues punishment on them for slander. Okay, so for example, one says, yeah, I saw him committing adultery in the corner, in the right corner. Second person says, same room but in the left corner. He says it is slander. You understand? So, in my own understanding, this opinion most likely is coming from one of the noble fuqaha. Understood that it's impossible to shoot it down, so he made it complicated. So that's one thing. And the second thing, just testimony of saying we saw is not sufficient, but actually they have to say we saw it, actually penis inserted into the vagina. We saw it. Understand? So do you think it's possible to prove it then? So it's unless it is the actual, you can say, the Superman who is actually showing in front of, demonstrating in front of her, or else how you can see it? Understand? So means someone one of the early fuqaha, he was making it nearly impossible. Okay, so for example, it's very famous that in the entire Uthmani period, how many years? It's almost 800 years, isn't it? There was only one case, and even then it was not implemented because of some certain conditions are not met. Okay, but obviously in the Abbasi period, nearly every day. Umayyad period, nearly every day. The first 3 centuries, righteous, so they used to do it every day. So they used to get stoned every day. But in entire Uthmani, there was not except one case in which insufficient, you can say, fulfillment of the conditions, so nothing was applied. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Yeah, so that is about this one. And also, after explaining, so after getting the testimony, so when testimony is fulfilled, after that, judge will ask about the witnesses, about each of them. So he will contact. So for example, one of them, let's say, from Oldham. So judge will contact the local authorities of Oldham to find out about this witness. Is he reliable? Did you have any, for example, problems between this guy and the person against whom he's witnessing? So if yes, so it's void. Or for example, did he have any mental issues in the past? So just to verify all of these things. And after that, he will call them all again back, and in congregation he will get the testimony, and that is the official valid testimony. After that, he will issue the penalty. Okay. So then the penalty. So as it is famous, according to the Athari, you can say Islam. Athari Islam means Shia and Sunnah. Okay, so Athari Muslims, they say if it is married person, regardless if he could be widowed now or divorcee now, okay, but married. The meaning of being married, so muhsan. So the meaning of being married, so he had valid nikah transaction, and he spent as a minimum half an hour. So he spent enough time for him to consummate the marriage. That is sufficient. That makes the person muhsan. So let's suppose that before 20 years he had this condition, and then he divorced. For 20 years he was single, for example. Okay, so now he is muhsan. So if this will happen, he will get stoned. Okay. Well, obviously, as I said, all of these conditions are taken from single chain narrations and athar of the Sahaba. The one who wants to dig into it a bit more, I advise you to go into the Musannaf Ibn Abi Shaybah. He gives you all of the athar. Okay, Sayyidi. So then what happens? So then we distinguish. According to Athari Islam, we make it different between men and women. So men will be just surrounded by people and stoned to death. Women, the lady, so they dig a hole, and up to half of her body, so she will be in the ground, and then they stone her like that. Yeah, and they remove all of the extras. They only leave on both of them only something to cover their private places. For men, even it is recommended just to cover between the belly button to the knees, and so chest not necessary. Understand? So for example, coat not permissible. So anything extra not permitted. Okay, but what about if it's cold? Well, they're going to die. We don't care. Okay, so coat is not necessary. It should be removed because it will slow down the process of death. Yes, Eddie. Yes. No. It is by ibara. It's same. No difference. So I'm telling you, it's irrational. You cannot apply our usul. You cannot apply our mustalah. You have to close your eyes. You have to just disregard our principles, and you have to just listen to Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So he will be dictating the rest. Okay, but for us, we have big questions. Our Imam says single chain narration cannot set up a punishment. How are you setting up punishment by single chain narration, which is so controversial, contradicting itself? Okay, how does it contradict? Yeah, so they say they brought two Jewish couples to Rasulullah alayhi salam saying, Ya Rasulullah, oh Abu Qasim, rabbis brought, oh Abu Qasim, so these two couples, they have committed adultery, so what do you think we should do? Okay, they were hoping that it is prophet of mercy, so they were hoping that in their Torah it is stoning, but they thought maybe we get some softer punishment from the prophet of mercy. So they brought, and prophet said to them, what is written in your Torah? So Rabbi came and then he just placed his finger, and in front of the people he said, he just displayed that. So it is like, do you know, like Bollywood, you know? In Bollywood, guys, one man, he does this and then one that's flying away, you know? So in front of the people, Rabbi does this and giving it. Okay, so then prophet said, and you meet and you went. And prophet said, so he said, Ya Allah, I am the first person to redirect your order to Quran. Ayah, where is it from? I challenge any authority to come and teach that word from Quran. They use fatwa, meaning you can use hijab, by your father. So why are you guys so contradicting yourself? Others say keep it, or others say put your thing on it, you know? Why watching, you know? But don't both together. Because then you have to wash your mouth also after eating. Do other people have the same. No, both. Why? Okay. So we move on. Fine. So basically, after that, they brought, and then hadith continued. Hadith continued. Rasulullah kissed the ayah, and then he ordered. Okay, so then in one narration, so basically, and then they have stoned the couple to death. Okay, fine. So even though meeting 5 conditions of Asqalani, rahimahullah, but not meeting the Hanafi conditions of authenticity, because single chain narration in the punishments weak. It is the sign of the weakness of the narration. Okay. So after completing the testimony, then Qadi will take the couples outside. So as we said, the punishment of the female is slightly different because she will be buried up to her half of her body, okay, and then she will be stoned. Okay, but what about the man? If he runs, we can do that also to him, or else we just leave him and then we stone him to death. That is the position of Athari Islam. The first people to start the stoning, it should be the witnesses. If they, for some reason, do not do it, then punishment will be void. We do not apply the punishment. If they do not start. If they start, the next is Qadi, and after that everyone will be judging. Okay, so they also narrate the hadith in which Rasulullah brought just little stone and then thrown, saying, "Oh people, I have initiated the sunnah of God in punishment, so now just follow me." And then they just stoned the guy to the death. So anyway, so they took it from that single chain narration again. I don't believe in stoning, no. Because, yeah. No. I believe that all of them are committing murder. And then I take them to that verse. Our early Mashayikh Hanafis, they had very big fight over that issue in terms of killer. Does he end up in the hell forever or not? Our group of our early Mashayikh said yes. So it's not only kufr which gives infinitive punishment, but also murderer also. As Allah says, وَمَنْ قَتَلَ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمُ خَالِدًا فِيهَا وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَلَعَنَهُ. Okay? So Allah says, so anyone who kills the mu'min deliberately, so he will remain khalidan, remain in the hell, khalid. So is it for long or is it forever? Disagreed upon. Okay, our mashayikh, Maturidi mashayikh say for long. Okay, our other Hanafi mashayikh say forever. Okay, and then غضب الله عليه, Allah made ghadab on him, وَلَعَنَهُ, and Allah cursed him. So they fall into that category because they are deliberately killing. Yeah. Murder is not easy because Allah says, "Man qatala nafsan fakannama qatala an-nas." The person who kills one person is very similar to killing everyone. Okay, inna lakum fil hayati. So basically, it is going into all of them. You can say mental and psychological problems. No, but unfortunately, these brothers, they are very into the athar. Just اتبع الأثر ولا تبتدع يا أخي. So that type of stupid mentality. Yeah, unfortunately. No, I don't believe in it. No, it's only man will. Yeah. And unfortunately, they attributed to the senior Sahaba also, Umar Ali radiallahu anhu, that great personality, just to back up their position. I don't believe any of them did, because they understood Quran just perfectly. Also, they made up a story in which Umar radiallahu anhu on the mimbar says, "Oh people, we read this verse of stoning in Quran, and if people would not think that I'm fabricating, I would write it down inside of Quran." Umar would never say that. Either we have wrong understanding of what Umar is, or either this is lie. One of two, cannot be third. Oh. Yeah. So Imam Zufar made a statement. So he said the killing, Qadi can kill only for one of two reasons: either fasad or either qisas, revenge. So, but unfortunately, we have a lot of these athari mentality. Yeah. So it's unfortunate. Now you cannot speak out about it either, because they will straight away label you saying, "Oh, you more knowledgeable than our early mashayikh." Well, you never met any of them, so you never know if he had a knowledge, or maybe he never existed. Understand? No, but this hype is very big. I have prepared a long article about the stoning. I gave it to one of the Deobandi mashayikh, so he first published and then he removed. Just taking the criticism of the people is not easy, You need courage for that. Yeah, so I'm going to publish it very soon, inshallah. Yeah, so with all of the proofs and quotations from our early mashayikh, including Abu Hanifa himself. Yeah, so we'll see what will be. I know what's going to happen. I already saw them. I don't care. We'll see. I wish if I would have a courage of Oldham Sharif, That is the real courage. It doesn't matter, isn't it? Just go for it and smash it. Okay, Sidi. So the punishment will be applied. So as I said, like in two ways. But if male will be running, okay, so then our mashayikh said, either you choose, judge chooses, either, so we dig and up to the half, or either we just tie him up. And while he is laying down, so then he will be stoned. And then group of a people, do you know the qawm of this person? So if he's from Oldham, so then group of a people from Oldham should witness. Okay, so Qadi, it's recommended, mustahab for the Qadi to choose group of disobedient and few righteous people, because disobedient they will learn, righteous people they will be praying for this person and for the rest of the society. Okay, Sayyidi, so that is in terms of the idolatry. Okay. Fornication, what's going to happen? So it is 100 lashes, but then any punishment will be applied, with a wooden stick. Okay, and so it should be straight. So for example, if you just pick it up as a branch, you have to make sure that you know them sticking out. So it should be removed. It should be smooth. Okay, and also it should not be soft, because you never can count it. For example, for slander it is 80 lashes, isn't it? Okay, but if it is like a soft, so when you strike once, so it falls several times. So is it 3 or is it 4? You never can count it. So you have to make sure that it is straight, smooth, and solid. So it does not bend. It does not bend. Okay, and also you have to. And another thing, punishment will be applied on the way that a person, his body, his hand should not be detached from his body. Applying. Okay, so it's not this. So his hand should not get distance from his body. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, and also it's not permissible to apply it only on one place. Okay, but on separate parts of the body. Okay, equally shared, equally split, avoiding the head and private places and the organs which could get damaged. Okay, so it will be applied on the back only. Okay, but not the front, because all of the organs are on the front, and he will be avoiding the kidneys. Okay, so that is the punishment. Okay. So that is it. Obviously this makes sense. Yes, definitely this is the punishment of both adultery and the fornication. And also, so it's not massaging, it's actually beating. Understand? So it's not that, okay, so tonight I'm going to enjoy, because tomorrow I will get massage also, you know. Qadi will do massage, and this guy will do another type of massage. No. You understand? So this lady will do massage, but the Qadi will do the punishment, you know. So that's how it should be. You know? You guys joke a lot, you know. Okay, Saidi. And anything, and there are few issues that we have to consider. Okay, in terms of the punishment. Okay, so any doubt, reasonable doubt, will nullify the punishment. Okay, there is so our main principle in terms of punishment is punishment cannot be set up by dhann, and not by ghalib al-dhann also. We need certainty. Okay, and anything which gives valid doubt will nullify the thing. So for example, what could be the thing? So witnesses will come after 1 month. For example, 4 of the witnesses will say, so now it is February. They will say, okay, in December we saw him committing adultery. We will not apply the punishment. So 1 month. Why after 1 month? Understand? Okay, creating some suspicious. We disqualify this testimony. So that's one thing. Or another thing. One of the witnesses, okay, so he was doubtful, either between saying or not saying, or he said maybe did, maybe not, or anything. Only one witness will nullify the testimony again. Okay, and also another thing. For example, if it is coming between 2 people, they, for example, had a friction. For example, cousin giving testimony against his cousin, and we know in the past families did have some fight. We disqualify this testimony. So anything which gives valid suspicious will affect on the validity of the testimony. Yes, Eddie.
What if you have 5 witnesses?
Yeah.
One of them is in doubt.
Yeah.
Would they go with the 4?
As a minimum 4. As a minimum 4. Yeah. But sometimes your example could be right, so that one person may spoil everything also. Okay, so we leave it to the judge. So any suspicious, okay, valid doubt, which judge can sense, it can nullify the testimony. Okay, Saidi. After their death, obviously, it is they are just normal dead people. Okay, so they are not shuhada. Okay, and so they're just normal dead people. We perform the janaza and everything, and they will be buried in Muslim. So we do have this opinion in which it says it's recommended for the main person, main authority, to not to pray their janaza. Okay, but I do believe that it was issued. This fatwa was issued, maybe as you can say, like discouraging the people. Okay, just as like a social technique or or else is permissible. Rasulullah did pray janazah, so all of that is permissible. Sorry? Rapist. Who do you think? What do you think it should be? More. Yeah. Obviously, the Athari Islam does not give anything extra. Okay, but we do have the opinion of some early Hanafi scholars and their students also. I did include all of that into the article. So they consider that as adultery because there is disagreement between the mashayikh in that, you know.
Do they still need 4 witnesses?
For
When something like that is doing this?
we need witnesses, yeah, because he's going to get punishment. So any punishment requires.
Hard to prove that, isn't it? So I understand when the sheikhs are doing this,
We do have two things in the action of raping. One is sexual violence, and the second is physical abuse. So if so, two people can set up the punishment for the physical abuse, understand? But for the sexual thing, we need 4.
and they have had to see
Beaten, yes. Or no. Or she should be able to prove, for example, some signs, scars, etc. And for example,
will her testimony count, because you said it wouldn't.
it is claim. It's not testimony. It is claim. She needs proof. Claimant needs to provide proof.
So the bruises would be.
That could be one of the proofs, but also we need to look into the time also. Okay, so she spent 1 week with her husband. Okay, she never left home, and then next morning comes and says, "Oh, you know, these MadIna Institute guys, they did, you know, understand? Well, you never left your house, understand? So time should match, understand? So she needs proof." But for example, maybe I understand what you mean. So for example, based on the contemporary Islam, do you know that all of them proofs, contemporary proofs, are not counted? No. We do accept it. We Hanafis do accept that. Yeah. So for example, the video camera, for example, or for example, signs, okay, that type of things. We do accept that all. Yes. Yeah. Considering that it's very possible to do the Photoshop and other things, but judge should be wise enough to do the test properly. Okay, Saidi. So now, can you please give me any valid reason for the doubt, regardless if the reason is from the offender or from the witnesses?
Friction between.
That's definitely. Yeah, it fits into the friction, isn't it? So because yeah. What do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? Um, uh, the victim, I'm sorry, the person who against whom they're giving testimony, he had mental issues 5 years ago, and we do have record from mental hospital. Does that count or not?
Yeah.
5 years ago, he was in the mental hospital. Yes. Yeah. So he did commit adultery now. So does that create thing or not? Doubt or not? So there are two options. The first is there is element of violence. We may go ahead. And the second is no element of violence. So we apply ta'zir. Ta'zir, okay. So ta'zir is different to the had. Had is the punishment which is actually specified textually. Ta'zir is something the judge will make a decision. Okay. So could be, for example, jailing for 2 days, 2-3 days, depending on the condition. Okay, or something like that. Okay, and also we do have another thing which is also related to this. So if the witnesses will say that it was not vaginal, but it was something else. Okay, sexual activities, but not vaginal. Obviously, there is no had in there, but there could be ta'zir. Okay. So, for example, the anal sexual activities. Okay. So, obviously, some of the Athari schools they do say that vaginal and anal are same. Okay, but in Hanafi school, no. Anal is different. We do not apply the had. Okay. No, it could be. Yeah, so depending on what. Okay. So in Hanafi school, the minimum one is the judge staring at the offender. Okay. Well, obviously, for the religious activities, especially the dawah carriers, staring does not work. Understand? We need the stick on their back, but not this, you know? This way. Kung Fu way, you know? The minimum is staring. Okay, but it depends on the. So, for example, Central Asian Hanafis, they do not do the physical on the respected parts of, for example, on the face, not permissible at all, as ta'zir also. Okay, or on the forehead or on the back, not permissible. Okay, in Central, but Iraqis do. Iraqi Hanafis, they do this also. They bring everyone, and in front of everyone, they do this. Understand? Judge does this, you know. Yeah, so depending on the culture. I don't know, in what about subcontinent? Do they do this? Here. So that's why you guys, Pakistani people, you don't have, look at this. Because in Uzbekistan they don't do this, so it grows. But mashallah, you guys, you don't have, no? It's because of that, isn't it? Yeah. So it depends. So you have a right to punish, but not to humiliate. If you understand what I'm trying to say, that is Central Asian. But Iraqi Hanafis, you have to humiliate. So next time he knows. Okay, because it's just, you can say, punishment for what he has done. So that's about that. Okay, Sayyidi. And we do have that few issues. So just keep, in Hanafi school, anything besides the vaginal intercourse is not classed as you can say, zina. Okay, so for example, they mentioned this issue about, yeah, so you just go and read it by yourself. It's easy. Okay, Sayyidi. The next punishment is drinking alcohol. Okay, do we have an established punishment for that in Quran? We do not have. Okay, it does not mean that I'm welcoming because I'm Hanafi. I drink nabis. Okay, so I'm not. I don't welcome it. Okay, but the punishment of the drinking alcohol, it is set up by the consensus of the scholars. Okay, and normally they refer to few narrations. They say some of the Sahaba used to drink. Okay, hadith, as far as I remember, it is in one of the two collections, either Muslim or Bukhari. And then they brought him to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Okay, and then Rasulullah alayhi salam ordered the Sahaba to punish him. But then they were punishing either by hand, or either by clothes, or either by shoes, like a Sahaba, you know. So, and then some of the Sahaba insulted him, said something like, you dog, or something, you know. So Rasulullah has forbidden him. Okay, so they took, Central Asian Hanafis took from this hadith that you can punish, give physical pain, but not humiliate. So insult is humiliating, isn't it? Yeah, but anyway, so that they refer to this hadith saying that the root of the punishment for drinking alcohol is textual, but the amount, specific amount, is by consensus. Okay, so how many lashes is for drinking? You guys, how many times you have been beaten when you used to drink? Huh? 40? Why 40? Was it just beer? Because for the proper wine we do 80, you know. Maybe you did only the beer, so that's why you got only 40, you know. So it's 80. So Imam Ali radiallahu anhu has been asked about it. Why is it 80? Some of the tabi'in came and said, why did you guys, Sahaba, specify 80 and not 100, for example, or not less? So Ali radiallahu anhu said, because drunk people, the drunk person normally speaks, you know, does not watch his tongue. And what he does, he will start slandering. And the punishment of slander is 80. So we gave him the punishment of the slander. Okay, makes sense. Well, I would say, yeah, makes sense actually. Makes sense. Exactly, yeah. With the same, yeah. Okay, Sayyidi. And then just keep in your mind, anything, so it is according to Quran textually, so anything in which free man gets full punishment, slave gets half of that. So for the fornication, slave gets 50. For the wine, 40. So that's how it goes. But then, how do we know if person is drunk or not? As if you remember, I mentioned that there are two definitions of drunkenness. Okay, in the fiqh, according to Hanafi school. Who remembers what are the definitions? In which chapter is that? Okay, so give me the second one. Exactly. So the second is the punishments. The first one is the chapter of ibadat. The drunk person has to repeat his wudu, isn't it? What's the definition of being drunk? Cannot walk straight. Okay, or the drunk person is not allowed to pray. What is the meaning of being drunk? So what you mentioned, the first definition, cannot walk straight. Okay, but in terms of punishment, he cannot distinguish if it is male or female. Yes. Yeah. So in Hanafi school we do not apply punishment because it was lawful for him. But his mistake was that he was unable to distinguish when and when not. Shafis and Malikis, they apply punishment regardless because for them it is haram regardless. Good question. Yes, Sayyidi. Yeah. You know, in terms of validity of ijma, does it have to be, is it valid by single chain or not? Disagreed upon. But official Hanafi, ijma can be transmitted by single chain, yes. So it's another contradiction, you know. So for the validity of consensus, we need all scholars to agree. But it could be transmitted by one scholar. Or just not even scholar, just one individual, righteous individual. Understand? So that is, but anyway, it's disagreed upon within all Ahl Sunnah. Even Malikis, Shafi'is, some Malikis say ijma has to be transmitted as a minimum by shuhra, or else it should be by tawatur. But the official position in Hanafi school, no, only one person can transmit the ijma. Good question. Did you study? Are you studying usul? What are you studying in usul? You didn't complete it. Usul shashi is like, you know, breastfeeding, not from the breast, but from the bottle. So it is second level beginner. So if you do not study the tanqih of Mahbubi, we cannot trust your knowledge on usul. Make sure that you study that properly. After that, you are imam in usul. Okay. But if you study it by the sharh of Taftazani, so that's even better. Taftazani confuses a lot because he's Shafi'i. His stance towards us is very critical. Okay, but because he used to be in the palace of Timurlang, okay, and his opponent was Sayyid Sharif Jurjani, Hanafi Maturidi Naqshbandi. So that created that tension. So his stance, Taftazani, was a bit negative towards us. But his negativity makes us even better, stronger. Because he gives us possible critiques also. Even though it never was issued, but he gives that. Okay, so that makes us even stronger. Just lovely personality. Okay, so At-Tawdih, the commentary of Taftazani, At-Tawdih ala Talwih. Okay, so that is the thing. The matan is Tanqih and Talwih, both are written by Imam Bukhari, Mahbubi, okay, Tarjih Sharia, and the Sharh was written by Taftazani. So 2 thick volumes. So that is, you can say, comparative usul al-fiqh between Mutakallimin and the Hanafis. So if you do not study that, we do not consider you as mujtahid in usul al-fiqh. You have to make sure that you study it properly. After that, we can trust your knowledge. Okay, Sayyidi. So maybe just few things in terms of the punishment is not given until he wakes up. Okay, but while he is drunk, he does not feel, you know, he will actually enjoy. I never tried, but I know. Okay, so qadf is it is accusation of the righteous person, regardless, male or female, okay, about anything to do with the righteousness. Okay, but what about insulting? Obviously, we do not consider it as slander, but he could get ta'zir. For example, I will say to you, for example, you Uzbeki, I'm insulting you. Understand? Okay, so do you get, or do I get 80 lashes? No, but I can get ta'zir. Okay, for abuse. But what is the slander? Slander is, I will say, I saw him killing, or I saw him committing adultery, or I saw him stealing. Do you know that? So anything to do with the righteousness. So that is slander. So if he will be unable to present the proofs, so he deserves the punishment of the slander. Yes, Eddie. It's one of the definitions, yes. But anything to do with the righteousness. But so, according to that, for example, someone, let's say that Grand Mufti, I will say to him that I saw him. So, for example, I saw him looking at a lady and doing this. That is slander. But if you say it about layman, no, that's not slander. You do not get that punishment. Do you understand? Why? Because do you know the people? Do you know the that high rank people? They have a lot of you can say people influenced by them. So their belief and their righteousness depend on their righteousness. So touching their righteousness, it is much more than touching the righteousness of the layman. You have to be smart, you know. So this guy came, he wanted to marry this lady. So he came to her neighbor saying, "What do you think about this girl? I like her. I want to marry her." Then this guy said, "Oh, you know, bro, I saw the other day I saw a guy kissing her." And these guys said, "Oh, forget about her then, you know. She's beautiful, she's nice, she's practicing, she cooks good, masala things. But then let's forget because she kisses men out, you know." But then after a while, the neighbor, the same guy, married her. The guy came back saying, "What did you do? Didn't you say that she goes around and kisses men?" And that guy said, the neighbor said, "Yes, it was her father, you know." So the guy was smart, slander, but on good way, you know, just to keep her for yourself, you know, do it on the smart way. So anyway, anything to do with the righteousness, it deserves the thing. But what about insults? Insults, for the insults, it is just ta'zir. For the insult, it is just ta'zir. And then the direct, for the punishment, we need the explicit and direct terms. But what about insulting someone indirectly? What do you guys think? For example, I will say to this guy, "You don't even know who is your father. Do you think I deserve? Do you think I deserve the punishment?" Or let's make it on different way. So I'm fighting with this guy and I will say, "Well, at least I know the name of my father." So is it slander or not? What do you guys think? So it is disagreed upon. Sahaba disagreed. Majority said no, because he's saying that at least he knows his own father. So it was between two Sahaba. So the other Sahabi, his mother was known for, you know, she has been slandered. Understand? And then later, these two Sahaba, they were fighting. One of the Sahaba said to that other one, saying, "Well, at least I know my father. I know who my father is." Understand? So some of the Sahaba said, "No, he just praised himself, that my father is great." Some other Sahaba said, No, actually he's referring to that slander about his mother." Umar radiallahu anhu went with that second one. Because slandering, yeah. So anyway, it is one of the, but what about Hanafi school? We go with the explicit condition. So is it explicit or not? Is it enough explicit or not? There is doubt. We go with, so explicitity is not only to do with the verbal condition. Understand? So for example, son of Grand Mufti says to the son of what is less respected job, for example, cleaner, toilet cleaner. "Well, I know who is my father." Do you think he's slandering? So my father is Grand Mufti, for example. This guy, his father is toilet cleaner. So I'm fighting with him, and then I will say to him, "Well, I know who my father is." Did I slander him? What I was trying to say? Exactly. So it's not explicit about slandering, but most likely I'm saying that my father is better in condition than your father. That's what I mean. But I will chess up with this guy whose mother has been slandered already. Okay, and then I will say to him, "Well, I know who my father is." Condition will, especially if I know, I I was born and grew up in the same place. So because people speak about it, isn't it? But if I'm just foreigner, it's the first time I came, and within half an hour after arriving, I will say to that guy, well, at least I know who my father is. So do you think it's explicit enough to get punishment? No, because most likely I never heard about that problem was his mother. Do you understand? So we just look into the explicit condition. So explicit condition is not necessarily verbal, but it could be by circumstance, okay, by surrounding condition also. So that is about this one. Hey Khuda. Now, ta'zir. The minimum ta'zir is obviously in here. He says 3 lashes, but as I mentioned, it could be lesser than that. Okay. The maximum, you have to keep in your mind that ta'zir is lesser than had. So it means that it should be lesser than the minimum had. So what is the minimum had? Excellent. So what is the minimum minimum punishment? 40. So ta'zir, maximum ta'zir should be lesser than the minimum had. So how many lashes maximum? 30, according to Abu Hanifa, it's 39. Okay. But what about the minimum? We say it is just the decision of the qadi. Okay. So our latest mashayikh, they gave very beautiful clarification. So they said, if it is very noble person, just staring will be enough in front of a people. So for example, do you know, let's say that, well, none of you guys are noble, well, except me. So if some of you would look at me like this, that is sufficient. For me, if you would kill me, it's better. Do you know that, that families, do you understand? Yeah. No, because look, all of them are staring at me. I don't know, what did I do? Why are you guys staring at me like this, So, for the noble people, do you know the respected families, the members of the respected families, so staring at them is sufficient. Okay? But if it is middle class, just bringing them to the court, that is the minimum. Because for the middle class, if you call them to the court, they even invitation to the court, that is good enough, Okay? But, for example, do you know the street people? So staring, it does not affect. Bringing to the court will not affect. They will debate even with the judge also. But we need a bit more firm thing. So for understand, okay. And also, if it is repeated, so it will be increased also. So for the noble people, for example, staring and questioning, I have been told that you did such and such. They will just die. Understand? Just keep in your mind, the people are 2 types. We have humans, we have animals. Okay? For example, if some human will be imitating monkey, if you ask him, what are you doing? What he will feel? Embarrassed. Why? For imitating the low things, isn't it? But what about if it is actually monkey? What are you doing? What he will do? If it's human, monkey. Yes, what he would do? If I would say, what are you doing? No, in terms of feeling. In terms of feeling. But what he would feel? Do you know, humans, if you see human imitating monkey, and you say to the human, what are you doing? What you've been doing? What he feels? Yes. But if it is actually low class monkey, human monkey, you tell him what you've been just doing, what he will feel? Why? It's normal. So that's why he will feel angry because I'm looking down at him, because that's what he is, and I'm saying, you are there, what are you doing? Do you understand? This is good criteria for you guys. In the future you're going to face a lot of people. If you want to distinguish the person is human or animal wearing human body, when he will be doing low class things, if you say, what are you doing? The real human will be embarrassed. But the low class human, do you know, the animal wearing the human body will get angry because that's what he is, and then you have disclosed his real face. He will get angry. He will be arguing. Do you understand? So just keep it in your mind. In my own experience, out of 1,000, if you find one human, you are lucky. Do you know the theory of evolution? I believe in it in terms of characters and morals. Some people evolve. We all are like, when we are children, we are like animals, isn't it? Because what makes the human different to the animal? So what drives us, isn't it? We are driven. So when we are children, we are driven by food and that the animalistic thing. But some of us, they grow out. They will be driven by higher things: knowledge, nobility, morals, respect, love. Do you understand? Okay? But some of us will continue in that animal kingdom. Understand? So I'm saying 1 in 1,000, I'm being very optimistic. Because you guys are yet kids, inshallah you will remember what I'm saying now. Okay? So 1 in 1,000, one human in 1,000, you are lucky if you find it. Understand? Yes, Saidi. No, it is the athari. It is from the ahadith. Okay, it is from the hadith. Abu Hanifa says maximum is 39. This opinion is coming, transmitted from transmitted by Imam Muhammad from Abu Yusuf al-Qadi. Okay, so because you can see Qadi Abu Yusuf is politician, so that's why his language is pure political. Understand? Imam Muhammad was judge also, Qadi also, but toward the end he discovered the real Abu Hanifa. It was too late for him. He was unable to rewrite everything. He died straight after. Okay, so that's why in his latest book you find authentic, not through Abu Yusuf but through other mashayikh. Okay, and even when he is forced to narrate from Abu Yusuf, he says, حدثني من أثق بعلمه. So the one whose knowledge for me is reliable transmitted this, but he never mentions his name in that. It's his latest books. But then he says, قال حسن بن زياد. Hassan ibn Ziyad is one of the قال Sufyan bin Sakhban, direct student of. So towards the end he went the other way, but it's too late. Now you are an old guy. Now you are going to die. Died soon after. So anyway, throwing, they say it is siyasa. Siyasa. Do you know the meaning of siyasa? Siyasatan is to control the masses. So ta'zir is actually siyasa. Understand? So a judge will use the ta'zir siyasatan to scare the people. Understand? So for example, drinking nabith is mubah, but if people started abusing, then I do siyasa. What do? I will start applying ta'zir. In normal condition in Hanafi school, not permissible to apply ta'zir on drinking nabith, on drinking beer. But because in my society they started abusing, so I will do the ta'zir. To do what? Siyasatan. So siyasa is not term justifies killing. No. Siyasa is to control the masses. So something which was not allowed, ta'zir is not allowed for nabith. But I do it siyasatan. Understand? Sorry? No. Siyasatan is ta'zir, applying ta'zir. But what's the reason for applying ta'zir? Siyasatan. Yeah. Or else you cannot apply the ta'zir on this. Yeah. Okay, Sayyidi. The next is السرقة وقطع الطريق. Highway robbers. So this chapter, entire chapter, is the author of Imam Ali, radiallahu anhu, because highway robbers it came very widely spread in the time of Umar, in the time of Ali radiallahu anhu. Okay, well, it started in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu because Uthman, as we know, so the third Khalifa, he was not very harsh, very tough person. Okay, during the time of Umar radiallahu, it would be very difficult because they knew who Umar is. Okay, so in the time of Uthman radiallahu, it just spoiled. Everything is spoiled because he was very soft and very gentle person. And for the khilaf and for that political leadership, we need very tough guy. Umar is amazing. He's the best person to be Khalif, you know. Yeah, so if I would be there, definitely I would insist on Umar instead of Abu Bakr. So Umar, he fits the Khilafah political leadership more than Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Even more than Imam Ali, no doubt. Yeah, so because for the political thing we need very tough personalities, you know. Not being shy, not being soft when punishment is applied, not feeling mercy, understand? So that is the personality of Umar. Okay. Okay, Sayyidi. So highway robbers, it is the condition of the validity of highway robbers. It is group of people who can protect themselves, who can defend themselves, okay, and they have equipments of a death, okay, and then they act on it also. But what about if it's just group of people, youth, they meet up at night and they do some certain rituals. They do have weapons. Do we apply the punishment of Qutta' al-Tariq? We say no. But they should act upon it. They should go out and they should act. Then it is highway robbers. What is the punishment of them? Hanafis applied the punishment of fasad. What is the fasad? Punishment of fasad in Quran? Death. And Quran mentions few ways of applying the punishment, either hanging or either chopping off the hands and legs on the crossway. I say that is very just, because by doing so you are protecting the lives of so many innocent people. Okay, we do have few Orientalists, mashallah, they try to cast these type of verses to show that look, Islam is violent. No, I think this is just amazing. That how it should, because we're not implementing this punishment in our time. You as a innocent person, you can get killed easily. Okay, but if there would be punishment, it would protect the lives of the innocent people. So that is just general comment about the highway robber. But what about stealing? Stealing, okay, so according to Hanafi school, the minimum punishment to be applied in stealing is 10 dirhams. What is 10 dirhams? So it is 35 grams of silver. So how much is going to be? Silver is very cheap in our time. What's the silver price in our time? Women know. Humans, we're into knowledge, into tahajjud, but women, they're into these gold and silver and clothes. Yeah, so what's the price of the silver? I bet humans don't know. I'm waiting the answer from the women. You don't know? They're trying to imitate the humans, you know. We do not accept that. So it's quite cheap, you know. Silver is very cheap. As far as I remember, sorry, 18 per gram. So so how much it will be? 35 grams. It's just 6.30. Yeah, so for that hand to be chopped off. So in the past, um, 100 grams of gold would equal 700 grams of silver. So what would be the price of silver then? 100 grams of gold would equal 700 grams of silver. So what would be the price of silver then, if you translate it into our time? Because 1 gram of gold is 42 or 43 pounds, isn't it? Gold is something like that. So let me see. Sorry? 700 pounds, isn't it? Yeah. 700 pounds. So 700 pounds. So it's 70 pounds then. 70 pounds by that time the person would deserve chopping off the hand. But you know what time is? How much you said? 3 pounds, isn't it? 6 pounds. So it's more than 10 times lesser, isn't it? But do we go with that calculation or not? So as you know, in the Athari Islam, we do not do the rational comparing, but we strictly follow the Athar. So it is 10 dirhams. 10 dirhams. And also we do have other schools which chop off for rubu' dirham also, 1/4 of a dirham. So what is the price of 1/4 of a dirham? So it is less than 1 gram, isn't it? Because 1 gram is 3.5 grams of silver, 1 dirham. So quarter of a dirham is about 0.8 grams. So how much is something about 25 p's, isn't it, for stealing? For stealing 25 p's. And we do have hadith which is in Sahih al-Bukhari as far as I remember. Obviously I don't believe in it. So hadith says, may Allah curse the thief because he steals rope and gets his hand chopped off, and he steals egg and gets his hand chopped off. So there are two problems with this hadith. First of all, does Rasulullah ﷺ curse the thief? Quran curses, yes, but in very high crimes. Murderer, isn't it? But stealing, Allah gives punishment only for the theft. But on top of that, does God curse also? No. So Rasulullah would not curse also. That's one thing. And the second thing is, only for one egg, does thief get his hand chopped off? By consensus, no. So how to understand this hadith then? They said, yeah, Rasulullah was just trying to discourage. Rasulullah does not curse to discourage. He is the highest ranked orator. He knows the speaking equipments to discourage the people. Understand? But it is just disabled Maulana, you know, the person who cannot speak properly, so he insults to this. Just type my name on internet. You get all of these people who discourage by this type of style, you know. May Allah curse him, you know, that type of thing. Rasulullah is very highly ranked orator. He speaks on the way without cursing. Okay, and do you remember this young man who came to Rasulullah and he was desiring to commit an adultery with the wife of his friend? Okay, so Rasulullah did not do anything, but he spoke so gently, and this young man said, while I was coming, I had just heat of, you know, desire, but when I was leaving, I just was finding it disgusting. Because Rasulullah is orator, you know. May Allah curse. It's not the way of orator, you know. Do you understand what I'm trying? So I think there is something, we have to look into the hadith a bit further. could be the statement of one of the tabi'in by mistake attributed to Rasulullah alayhi salam, but not the Prophet who made this statement. لم يكن نبي لعانا. This is authentic hadith for me. None any of the prophets were cursing ones. La'an means curses for any single thing. General principle makes sense to me. Okay, in very rare occasions, for example, Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam cursed Banu Israel, but for specific reason. Understand? Or look at Musa alayhi salam, that person, very strong character. You hardly find so after all what they have done to him, you hardly find him cursing. But in here, Rasulullah just sitting, yeah, may Allah curse him, steals egg, gets his hand chopped off. No, does not sound like a prophet. Sounds like one of the tabi'in, Arabian tabi'in, because they curse a lot. Arabians curse a lot. Yeah. Okay, so that is about this. It takes at least about a couple of decades before understanding it. Okay, Sayyidi. So that is the first thing about stealing, and the second thing is this valuable thing, which should be as a minimum of 10 dirhams value, it should be in protected place. In protected place. Okay, or they should be condition of being protected. For example, I will go to my uncle's house and then I steal from there. Do I get chopped off? From his house. I steal his golden ring. Why? No, for example, house. So going into someone's house and stealing the money, not from the safe, that gives the punishment, yes. So why do I have to make it in the safe? It was just in the house, on the table. He just left it there to make wudu, and then I just take it. Why? No, it's house. Yeah, it's one of the conditions, because relatives, there is this opinion says, relatives, because they do not protect things from one another. So, but if it is just normal guest or friend, so we say yes, will be applied. Sorry? It could be ta'zir, maximum of ta'zir, yes. Yeah. And also, none of the punishments are applied on غير مكلف. The person should be mukallaf. All of the conditions of taklif except slavery. So slave also gets the punishment, but half of the punishment. Okay, in that case, for example, this person steals from the mosque, steals the carpet from the mosque. Carpet worth, for example, 300 pounds. Does he deserve punishment or not? Why? Excellent, because it's not protected. Conditions of the punishment that it should be protected. Okay. Okay, but what about a person sleeping in the mosque and his mobile phone is just in front of him, but he's sleeping? You go and steal. I'm sorry, you go and take it. Take the gift. Let's call everything by its real names, you know? It's not theft. It's in front of him. But he is asleep. Yeah, so he is the protector actually. He is looking after it, yeah. So heedlessness does not remove the condition of being protected. Someone is heedless from something that he should be looking after, it does not mean that it's not protected. It is still protected. Okay, so maybe just to enjoy some of the opinions, we say that what about, so they, our mashayikh, Hanafi mashayikh, they said if two people, so for the punishment it should be full crime. It should be full crime. But what about if it is two thieves, one will go into the house and the second is outside. So the one which is inside, he takes the thing, throws outside, and the guy who is outside takes it and runs away. They said no, it's not full crime. So neither of them will get the punishment, because for you to deserve the punishment, you need to get the full crime. Full crime is taking and going away. So one took and the second is walked away, you know. It's Hanafis, you know. These Hanafis are quite dodgy, you know, sometimes. Yes, Saidi. Yeah. Chess, isn't it? Because they say all of them does not have a value. Yeah, it's just based on that opinion. And also, for example, you know, the music equipment, it's just pure athari, as I say. Yeah. Or for example, someone's pet. It's again athari. But Abu Hanifa says, for example, it's permissible to keep a dog at home. Okay, and it has a value also. Okay, but then they bring this hadith in which it says that Rasulullah ﷺ has forbidden us from the fees of the prostitute and from the fees of the dog. So someone was trying to maybe devaluate or insult the dogs, you know, and they also narrated this hadith in which Sahaba, they were running. Rasulullah ordered the Sahaba to go out of MadIna and kill the dogs. So Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Umar, they were just running behind the dogs and killing them, you know. Yeah, and then, yeah, so but then Abu Hanifa says, no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that group of youth, they went out seeking the mercy of God. They had a dog, and their dog was with them in the cave. Okay, and then Abu Hanifa carries on saying, also Allah gave us permission to hunt by using the dog. So then why Sahaba would be running to kill the dog? Okay, so it is just disputed issue. Yeah, just because you follow one way, it does not mean that you have to panic when I present my way also. If you can refute it, let's do it, or else means what I'm saying is quite valid. Okay, Sidi, what about someone goes and steals, for example, from the hotels, steals blankets from the hotel? Or, for example, goes to the public saunas, or, for example, gym, and steals the weight, for example. Why? Because, yes, because of that hirz means protection. So that condition is missing. But it does not mean that we just ignore him. Okay, but no amputation actually. Okay, no that actual punishment. Okay, so that is just general points about stealing, about theft. But now, in terms of application of the punishment. So after being chopped off, is he still responsible to refund or not? Not going to. So anyway, we look into the case. If the stolen item is still there, we just return it back, or else that is punishment for everything. Okay. So according to official Hanafi school, yes, Sayyid. After the claim, as soon as it will go to the judge, no. But if he returns it back and then he will be taken, no. Because but if he judge has issued the sentence, so returning back does not save him. Okay, so the highway robbers, inshallah, we spoke about it also. For me, it makes perfect sense, you know, these highway robbers, because that is actually fasad. Okay, group also it includes the rebellion also. Yeah, but unfortunately, now everything is just messed up, you know. For example, someone claims that politicians are liars. I know that politicians are liars, but stability is more important, you know. Yeah, so quite difficult, quite complicated issue. MashaAllah, excellent question. What do you think? We have two interpretations. We have these athari, fiqhi interpretations. As you can see, it is pure political, isn't it? But fasad is more than that. Fasad is, do you know, there is natural, you can say, circle of the life. So disruption of that is fasad. That's what actually fasad in Quran. Understand? So that disruption is actually the fasad fil ard. But what about highway robbers? According to Quran, that is qatl, murderer. And sometimes if it's big, so that is fitna. Is fitna similar to fasad? No, no. Fasad is even higher. Fasad will mess up the entire globe, planet. But fitna is quite local. And qatl is even smaller than fitna. So, killing, like mass killing, that is fitna. Anything to do. So for example, I will just go to the border between Pakistan and India and I will mess up there. Me and, for example, one guy imitate. So that is fitna, because that will provoke the massacre, like a war between India and Pakistan. So that is fitna. Or even one person in the town, he plays, messes around, and when he will be exposed, that will cause big mess. That is fitna. One person is committing fitna. But murderer is lesser than that. I will go and kill one person. That's it, finished. But fitna will open up the gate of murder, and it will, maybe it may go for decades or maybe centuries also. And so that is fitna. But fasad, it is the disruption of the natural circle of the life. So it is global. So it is like a qatl, fitna and fasad. So fasad is major sin. Okay, fasad is that major sin. Which angels we're talking about? Yes. You want us to talk about that? No, that is. I'm sorry, I'm not yet ready for that. Yes, but we do have this also. Yes. Yeah. Okay, Saidi. Okay, Saidi. So in terms of the ashriba, the permitted and non-permitted drinks. So it is actual issue. I do believe that it's actually coming from Imam Abu Hanifa. And anyway, the official position, Hanafi position, is the position of Imam Muhammad. Okay. So we have two different things. We have khamr and we have other drinks. So khamr is prohibited in itself, regardless, little bit or a lot. But what's the meaning of khamr? Khamr is raisins or from the dates. Okay. But for example, the honey, okay, or ginger, it's quite popular. We call all of that nabith. Okay, and that is permissible, and only the prohibition about that is intoxication. But about khamr itself, so just for example mixing, for example, couple of spoons of khamr into the drink makes it unlawful to drink. But the nabith only if it intoxicates. Okay, only that much. Okay, but again, as we said, what about if it is person out of heedlessness, he carried on drinking until he has fallen drunk? Is he sinful in Hanafi school? No. So for example, nabith of ginger, kept on drinking, but it is his duty to stop. So in front of God, he's going to be responsible. So he should be conscious about what he's doing. So he should stop just before he starts feeling this problem. Okay, so let's suppose that my you can say grade is I can take 5 bottles of nabith, but for the 6th one I'm going to be drunk. So 5 permissible, and the 6th one going to be prohibited. Okay, but that is the opinion of Imam Abu Hanifa, and this is the position of the fuqaha of Kufa. Okay, Waki' ibn Jarrah and all, even the muhaddithin also. Waki' ibn Jarrah is muhaddith. Okay, so all of them, but the Hijazis are very strict. Okay, so they bring this hadith in which it says, كل ما أسكر كثيره فقليله حرام. So anything which intoxicates in big quantities, so the small quantities, but obviously single chain narration, and it is umumul balwa. Sahaba, we do have a hadith in which Sahaba used to drink, and even we do have a hadith in which Rasulullah used to drink, nabith, used to make wudu. But then our Athari Mashayikh, Muhaddithin, they say it was just nabith, which means that at night he would just drop the dates and in the morning he would drink. Well, it is your interpretation, but nabith is used for a totally different thing, which we're talking about. Understand? Yeah. So, sometimes even within Hanafi school, when you give your interpretation, you will have some certain ahadith which is not fitting. But then you give some certain interpretation to that hadith also. Understand? Which may look silly also. So this is also from both sides. In this specific matter, our muhaddithin mashayikh, they gave this interpretation saying, nabith, which Rasulullah used to drink, it is just a water, and Rasulullah used to drop dates at night, and in the morning he would drink. So means that water picks up only color and just a bit of sweetness, nothing else, because one night is not sufficient for anything. Well, we do not call that nabith. Understand? Nabith is different. In Arabic language, nabith is different. So that water should stay for a bit longer for us to call it as nabith in Arabic language. 1 week, 2 weeks, for example. But if you leave it for very long, then it will start intoxicating, definitely. Okay, it becomes very strong. So now, what is the definition of, so when it will be on that level? So first of all is, do you know it should give bubbles? Okay, sweetness should disappear, it should become bitter, and third condition is, it should become crystallic pure. By these 3, you made the nabith into the khamr. Date is khamr, isn't it? But there is khamr date, but there is nabith date also. Understand? What's the difference? So what I said. So you drop it and you leave it. They are writing. Why? Why they are writing? No, it's not conditions, no. It's way of preparing it, way of doing it, So you just leave it. So it will start giving bubbles. Because date is sweet, isn't it? So in the beginning, that the sweetness will get spread in the water. But if you leave it for long, it becomes bitter. And then it will start doing the bubbles. Okay, and then it becomes crystalline pure. So in the beginning it would be muddy, but when it becomes into the khamr, it becomes very crystalline pure, clear. So that is khamr. Yeah, that's also, and also there is whey. So you have to make sure that it's in the shadow. Sun will kill it. It will be shadow, and also you have to carry on moving it. So once a week or twice a week, carry on moving. Yeah. So do you know that sediment? We need that. So when you shake, when you move it, so it just goes, and then it just gives even more stronger, makes it a bit stronger. Okay, Sayyidi. Inshallah, we're going to stop there. So everything beside that is halal, permissible. Only the dispute is only about nabith. Khamr is agreed to be prohibited, and only the disagreed upon is nabith. Everything else is permissible. Yes.
I remember something from Sunnah saying that even though it's small,
Yeah, that is the official Hanafi position. Opinion of Imam Muhammad. So opinion of Abu Hanifa was not accepted by the official Hanafi position. Okay, maybe the last thing to do with the drink, spirit vinegar. So what's the meaning of spirit vinegar? It's just wine converted into the vinegar. Okay, so we have disagreement. Imam Shafi'i radiallahu anhu says, if you do it deliberately, it's makruh for you to consume it. But if it became from the khamr into the vinegar by itself, naturally, it's permissible. According to Hanafi, both are permissible. You do it by yourself, or it becomes like that naturally. Both are perfectly fine. Okay, so spirit vinegar is good. Actually, we use it. So in our herbal medicine, it's only the spirit vinegar that we use. Others do not work. Okay, Sayyidi, thank you very much. Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.